Chapter 28, Callum. Ryan, this isn't the way to change things. Alex Luthor, for instance. Alex Luthor, my left buttock. Ryan, language, Mum told him off. Meggie, get real, Dad said impatiently. Alex Luthor is barely living, just about breathing proof that trying to change the way it is by using peaceful methods doesn't work. That blinker has been in prison more times than any 8 prison governors I know. Don't call him that, Mum said furiously. It's bad enough when ignorant crosses call us blinkers without us calling ourselves by the same name. We name it, we claim it, said Dad. Nonsense. We use it. Crosses think they can too. Besides, that's my point. Alex Luthor is a great man. I'm not saying he isn't, but the general is making more of an impact than Alex Luthor. And if my granny had wheels, she'd be a wagon, Mum snorted. What's your point? The general is a warmonger. Mum's tone made it very clear what she thought of the general, the anonymous head of the Liberation Militia. Killing and maiming always making more of an impression than peaceful protests and sit-ins and passive resistance, but that doesn't make it right. The general, I don't want to hear one more word about the general. You talk about him as if he were God's brother or something. As head of the LM, he's the next best thing, Dad replied. In response, Mum used a series of words I'd never heard her say before. I left her and Dad arguing about the general versus Alex Luthor and crept down the stairs. Weren't the two of them ever going to sleep? I'd already been waiting half an hour for them to give up and shut up. How many times had they had the same argument? No one ever won. It just made them mad at each other. What was the point? I glanced up at the clock in our living room, 2:30 in the morning. Earlier, Seffi had left our usual message that she wanted to talk to me urgently. We had a secret signal. She'd phoned 3 times, each time letting the phone ring twice before hanging up. That way she didn't have to talk to anyone or let Mum and Dad or Jude know that she was phoning. Of course, the phone ringing and then stopping drove Mom and Dad nuts, but the trick was not to do it too often. If I needed to get a hold of her urgently, I did the same thing, although it was more tricky phoning during the day because one of Seffi's house servants usually picked it up pretty quickly. Once I heard the signal, I knew Seffi would phone me between 2:30 and 3 in the morning, whenever it was safe for her to sneak out of her room and use one of the phones in her house. When I phoned her with our signal, we'd usually meet in her rose garden around the same time of night. So here I was, hovering over our one and only phone like a vulture, waiting for the first burr to sound so that I could pick it up before it disturbed everyone else in the house. 2:45 came and went, as did 3 o'clock. At 3:05, I decided that Seffi was obviously not going to call me. Maybe it had just been too difficult to get to the phone. I was heading up the stairs when the first trill sounded. I'd never moved so fast, but even then a full burr rang out before I could pick up the receiver. Callum, shh, I whispered. Anxiously, I looked up at the darkened stairs, listening intently for the sound of a bedroom door opening. Moments passed, nothing. Seffi, sorry I'm late, but Mum came downstairs 10 minutes ago, and she's only just going back upstairs. That's okay. Seffi's voice barely made it to a whisper, the same as mine. I was standing in our living room talking to my best friend in the pitch dark. It made it feel adventurous and illicit somehow. Callum, I'm glad you phoned. I got in first. What lessons do we have tomorrow? Double math, then history, English, PE, IT, and music in the afternoon. Where's your timetable? I left it at school, I replied softly, and then something Seffi had said sunk in. Oh no, not history. What's wrong with history? Mr. Jason, I said grimly. He's going to use the lesson to stick it to me the way he always does. What are you talking about? If you don't know, then I can't tell you, I said. Silence stretched between us. You still there, Seffi? Yes, I'm still here, Seffi replied. So why did you want to talk to me? I asked. What was so urgent? What are you doing on the 27th of September? That's 2 weeks from Saturday. I frowned into the darkness. Nothing as far as I know. Why? Do you want to meet up for my birthday? Sure, but your birthday's on the 23rd, isn't it? Yeah, but I'm having a birthday party at the house on the 27th. You can come round. I obviously misheard her. Round to your house? That's right. I see. See what? You want me to come round to your house. That's what I said, isn't it? I see. Stop saying that. What else did she want me to say? Why was she inviting me to her house when her mom would take one look at me and have me carried from the building? What was the point? What was she up to? You're sure you want me to come over? I asked. I'm positive, will you? Does your mom know you're inviting me? At first I thought Seffi wasn't going to answer. No, she said at last. But are you going to tell her? Of course. After I turn up at your party. Don't be so ready smart, Seffi snapped, which was more than answered my question. So are you coming? If you want me to, I said slowly. I do. I'll give you all the details after school tomorrow, okay? Okay. Bye, Callum. I put down the phone, getting it right the first time now that my eyes were accustomed to the dark. Seffi wanted me at her birthday party, knowing it would cause nothing but trouble. What was she up to? There was only one reason I could think of, but if I was right, it would mean that Seffi didn't think of me the way I thought of her. If I was right, it would prove that Seffi that I was a not first, and everything else came afterwards.